Among many evocations of film noir in Watchmen, one of the most interesting is Laurie Jupiter as Femme Fatale. Dangerous, seductive, suspicious. Much of what she does recalls in particular the seminal quintessential noir Double Indemnity, so comparing the two directly is sure to offer interesting results. So let's start from the beginning with How to Femme Fatale. Step 1 is seduction.
What is it, Nettie? Who is it?
It's for Mr. Dietrichson.
I'm Mrs. Dietrichson. What is it?
How do you do, Mrs. Dietrichson? I'm Walter Nett, Pacific All Risk.
Pacific All what?
The Pacific All Risk Insurance Company. It's about some renewals on the automobiles. I've been trying to contact your husband for the past 2 weeks, but he's never in his office.
Is there anything I can do?
The insurance ran out on the 15th. I'd hate to think of you having a smashed fender or something while you're not fully covered.
Perhaps I know what you mean, Mr. Nett.
Notice attraction and decide to use it to your advantage.
If you wait till I put something on, I'll be right down.
In Watchmen, Laurie notices Dan's attraction to her, and years later, after the comedian's murder, she decides to reconnect with Dan, out of the blue, if you excuse the pun.
I was thinking about that dame upstairs and the way she had looked at me. And I wanted to see her again, close, without that silly staircase between us.
The seed is planted. Our femme fatale dresses provocatively and deliberately draws attention to her appearance.
I wasn't long, was I?
Not at all, Mrs. Dietrichson.
Hope I've got my face on straight.
Perfect for my money.
Do you remember my costume? All that tight latex? I mean, it was awful.
Yeah, awful.
And with that, he's hooked.
And right then it came over me that I hadn't walked out on anything at all. That the hook was too strong. That this wasn't the end between her and me. It was only the beginning. So at 8 o'clock the bell would ring and I'd know who it was without even having to think. As if it was the most natural thing in the world.
Hello?
I didn't know where else to go.
Oh, it's okay. Come in.
She turns up, unexpected, at his door. Her motivations are unclear.
What's wrong?
I left John.
Oh, God. I'm so sorry.
I don't know why I'm here.
In Double Indemnity, Walter's fallen into the trap. He and Phyllis secretly meet up to conspire against her husband.
You know that big market up in Los Feliz Keys? That's the place Phyllis and I had picked for a meeting place. I already had most of the plan in my head, but a lot of details had to be worked out. And she had to know them all by heart when the time came. We had to be very careful from now on. We couldn't let anybody see us together. We couldn't even talk to each other on the telephone. Not from her house, or at my office anyway. So she was to be in the market every morning about 11 o'clock, buying stuff. And I could sort of run into her there any day I wanted to. Sort of accidentally on purpose.
Walter, I
Not so loud.
wanted to talk to you ever since yesterday.
Let me talk first.
Dan and Laurie also meet on multiple occasions. To an onlooker, this would be very suspicious indeed.
Walter. I hate him. I loathe going back to him. You believe me, don't you, Walter?
Sure, I believe you.
Dan. John sees a lot of things. But he doesn't see me.
The femme consolidates her power by engaging in romance with the Mark, giving him a taster of what he wants, what she knows he wants.
Oh.
Laurie is automatically a dangerous woman, by association.
You always get a government escort to dinner?
They're making sure I don't do anything to upset the country's most powerful weapon.
But more so than the government, It's Walter Kovacs, alias Rorschach, who suspects Laurie of manipulating Dan, perhaps. Likewise, in Double Indemnity, it's a close friend and another investigator of sorts, Barton Keyes, claims adjuster, who's on the couple's trail.
Hello, Keyes. What's on your mind?
There's something wrong with the Dietrichson case.
Why, because he didn't file a claim? Maybe he just didn't have time.
Could have been a burglary. Maybe the killer didn't know who the comedian was.
An ordinary burglar killed a comedian. Ridiculous.
Maybe it was suicide.
No, not suicide. But not an accident either.
Maybe it was a political killing or something.
Maybe.
Maybe he just didn't know that he was insured. No, it just can't be the way it looks. Something has been worked on us.
Such as what?
Maybe someone's picking off costumed heroes.
Murder?
You don't think that's a little paranoid?
That what they say about me now? Paranoid.
Rorschach's not without excuse for suspecting Laurie. Her hatred towards the comedian, even immediately after his death, is enough to put her on a long list of suspects. It's no coincidence that, as Walter Kovacs, he happens to be outside as Dan and Laurie dine.
Remember that crazy guy?
And his suspicions start to take form.
Rorschach's Journal, October 21st, 1985. On 43rd and 7th, saw Dryburg and Jupiter leaving diner. They didn't know me without my mask. An affair. Did she break Manhattan's heart to engineer his exile to make room for Dryburg? An affair. Did she break Manhattan's heart to engineer his exile to make room for Dryburg?
So, no word from John?
No.
Well, listen, why don't you come stay with me?
Oh, no, that's sweet, but I wouldn't want to impose.
Oh, no.
If we apply his suspicions to Double Indemnity, something interesting happens.
Look, baby, you can't get away with it. You want to knock him off, don't you?
That's a horrible thing to say.
And fair.
I can't stand it anymore. What if they did hang me?
They're not going to hang you, baby.
It's better than going on this way.
They're not going to hang you because you're going to do it and I'm going to help you.
Did she engineer her husband's death?
What are you doing that for? What are you honking the horn for?
To make room for Neff?
We did it so we could be together, but...
Or so she claims, for now. See, the deed done and under intense investigation, the relationship between Phyllis and Walter becomes strained. They meet.
He's figured out how it was worked. He knows it was somebody else on the train. And he's dug up a witness he thinks can prove it.
Prove it how? If he rejects that claim, I have to sue.
Yeah, and then you'll end up in court and a lot of other things are going to come up. Like, for instance, about you and the first Mrs. Dietrichson.
What about me and the first Mrs. Dietrichson?
The way she died.
And this is when we know for sure that she had manipulated him, not for love, but purely for her own benefit. Indeed, I humbly submit that it is no coincidence that Laurie wears very similar sunglasses in this scene, recalling a specific scene in Double Indemnity, when she's most suspicious to the audience, when Rorschach actually voices his suspicions.
Rorschach's Journal.
I tell you, it all fits together like a watch.
You've gone too soft, too trusting, especially with women.
Okay, no, listen, I've had it with that.
But is Rorschach just being a nut? Watchmen is a wonderfully ambiguous book, and film. The number of possible interpretations to its various scenarios is both thrilling and dizzying. Even read as a whodunit, many characters are presented as suspects, sometimes very subtly. Nothing is fixed. Even though the finale doesn't reveal Laurie to be some sort of criminal mastermind, it's worth reading her as a potential villainess, because it's definitely possible. Rorschach certainly thinks so. Such a reading bears its rewards. Laurie continues to fulfill her role as Femme Fatale, but with a twist. The misogyny of a character type that emerged in a period of unstable gender relations is ruthlessly undercut. Laurie is a genuinely sympathetic human being, challenging the morally dividing approach that her actions make her a bad person. Walter Kovac's mindset is woefully outdated. He sees the world through noir-tinted glasses, as if he had lived it in some past life.
Mr. Neff, I...
Make it Walter, huh?
Walter.
That's right.
His predecessor is Keyes, a man whose name obviously relates to his ability to solve a problem, to root out the secrets at the heart of a mystery.
Walter, I'm a very great man.
Incidentally, Double Indemnity was based on a real-life murder, the Snyder case.
No.
I tell you, it all fits together like a watch.
Well, okay, that's going a bit far, but there's one more link we can make between our respective sources.
I don't like what you're implying. And I like being followed even less.
Maybe I always keep an eye on you. In case someone's gunning for masks.
You know why you couldn't figure this one, Keyes? I'll tell you. Because the guy you were looking for was too close. He was right across the desk from you.
Closer than that, Walter.
I love you, too.